Currently smoking on some rainbow milky. I think it's a hybrid, a mix between indica and sativa. You feel me? Banging taste, relaxing, puts you in a calm, zen-like mood, kind of create a creative space. Yeah, puts me in a creative space. Yeah, man, what you lot smoking on, man? Let's send pictures, let's connect, let's vibe, man. Let's link up, maybe do a smoke sesh. Yeah, man. Show you a little image as well. Yeah, today I was gonna do things a little different. I wanna do a little reaction video. So yeah, man, let's rock.
/OCGTV today.
Attention to Kaba and Conal Bamboy, a music producer and 6'7" associate. A third friend entered along with them, Marcus Pottinger. He was a valuable ally because he had previously worked at the club. The men consumed nitrous oxide in the queue before some were frisked by door staff. Pottinger embraced former colleagues, then breezed past security with a handgun stashed in a bag. As the masked duo skulked on the dance floor, Kaba clocked a man named Brandon Malukshi, a 25-year-old who was believed to belong to 1-7, a rival gang from Wandsworth Road. A fourth member of the 6-7 group, Shemaiah Bell, known as Bones because of his dog bone-shaped necklace, passed the bag to Kaba. He slipped his hand into a glove and gripped the gun. CCTV footage caught the moment the positivity turned into pandemonium when Kaba opened fire and a bullet hit the victim's left leg. As fellow clubbers darted for cover, the victim fled the club. Kaba chased him down the street and allegedly fired 3 more bullets, one of which pierced the man's right leg. He collapsed on the pavement, and Kaba is said to have left in a hired Range Rover. The victim was filmed in remarkable CCTV footage, staggering over to a parked car while blood drips from his wounds. He ultimately survived the shooting and was taken to hospital. He discharged himself and refused to cooperate with detectives. Kaba's group had arrived in an Audi Q8 driven by Shemaiah Bell, who returned to the area the next day to pick it up. He would later drop it off at the home of Chris Kaba. 5 days later, late in the evening on September 4th, witnesses heard gunshots near a primary school in Brixton. Later, a woman reported seeing 4 men wearing balaclavas exiting a vehicle. One had a very large shotgun stuffed down his trousers. Police were dispatched but couldn't find anyone that had been injured. No firearm had been recovered either. The suspects reportedly changed their clothes and escaped in 2 clean vehicles. However, a witness took down the number plate for one of the cars and alerted the police. The car? A blue Audi Q8. The following day, now September 5th, Kaba visited his mother in Peckham and the pair had dinner. At 7 p.m, firearms officers were briefed at the start of their 12-hour shift. They were told about the Brixton shooting, how the gun was still outstanding, and that their suspects were at large. A police firearms marker had been placed on the Audi Q8. Police intelligence indicated a ride-out, that the gang were looking for enemies with intent to cause them harm. Later that evening, Kaba said he was going to visit a friend. He hugged his mother and set off in the Audi. It will be the last time she was seen alive. At 9:51 p.m, a firearms officer sitting in the back of an unmarked Volvo named Alpha spotted the Audi driving towards them in Camberwell. He informed his 2 colleagues of what he had seen and beckoned them to get in the car. He had recognized the number plate circulating at the briefing. At 9:55 p.m, a firearms incident was declared. The officers were unaware of the driver's identity when they began the silent follow. An armed response vehicle named Foxtrot was stationed in Streatham Hill and ready to join the three-car convoy. The operational firearms commander gave directions of the tactic and enforced stop with extraction. Some officers believe the driver did not know he was being pursued, but his convoluted route suggested that he was aware. Their suspicions proved correct. At 9:57 p.m, Kaba phoned his friend and said, "Listen one sec, I think there are police behind me." Dashcam footage showed Kaba turning right off Brixton Hill onto New Park Road. Moments later, he turned left into Kirkstall Gardens, where police marksman Martin Blake and two colleagues were stationed in the marked car. By now, 6 police vehicles and a helicopter with night vision recording ability had joined the tactical operation. An officer in the car behind Kaba gave the instruction, "We're going to do it here. In line, in line, in line." The ARV emerged from behind a white Tesla and drove forward while the unmarked Volvo boxed Kaba in from behind. One marksman got out of the unmarked police car and tried to open the Audi's front passenger door, but found it was locked. Video showed him striking the front passenger side window with the barrel of his semi-automatic gun to get a reaction from the driver. Kaba's right arm was seen on the steering wheel, while his left arm shielded his head. Officers shouted, "Armed police, show us your hands," as they surrounded the Audi. Kaba tried to escape, driving forward into a gap between a marked armed police vehicle and a parked Tesla, but became wedged. He then reversed and hit an unmarked police car. The scene was fraught
He's
and
never
frantic,
thinking they're
as
gonna
seen
shoot
in the
him,
footage released to the media last
Like,
week.
you're thinking, yeah, they're not going
At
to shoot.
10:07 p.m, 2 marksmen raised their SIG Sauer semi-automatic carbines in the same second.
Right.
It was Blake who fired a single shot which pierced the windscreen and struck Kaba in the forehead.
Right.
It was the first time since joining the firearms team in 2016 that he had fired at a suspect. Officers performed CPR and Kaba was taken to hospital, where he died at 12:12 a.m. The Met referred itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, which sent investigators to the scene. The police watchdog would later launch a murder investigation against the marksman who pulled the trigger. The case has divided the public in the UK, with strong opinion on either side of the fence. Many hold sympathy with the police and the huge decisions they have to make in a split second. Others point to a sinister pattern emerging when it comes to the victim demographic of police shootings. Since 2005, 4 men who were unarmed at the point they faced armed police have been shot dead by the Met in non-terrorist operations. They are Kaba, Jermaine Baker in 2015, Mark Duggan in 2011, and Azelle Rodney in 2005.
They're all black,
All were
all
black.
people
The
who've been
fact
shot
is
by police,
significant for some
that were
and
unarmed
coincidental for
and
others.
approached by armed police, have
The
all
court
been
case
black.
against Martin Blake brought additional details to the public domain.
There's only been
about the
4 people
intelligence
that have been
police
shot
had on
unarmed
Kaba.
by police.
The year before he was
And all of
killed,
them are
Kaba
black.
was released from custody after being sentenced to 4 years in a young offenders institution for possession of an imitation firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. Kaba fired a sawn-off shotgun outside a party in Canning Town, East London, in the early hours of December 30th, 2017. No one was hurt. He was sentenced at Snaresbrook Crown Court in January 2019. This was one of 6 criminal convictions. His first, aged 13, was for possession of a kitchen knife after a large fight. In June 2012, he was handed a youth referral order. Later that year in October, he was convicted of wounding with intent and sentenced to 2 years in a young offenders institution. A burglary conviction for stealing, a term used to describe mass theft or shoplifting a mobile phone shop in 2013, resulted in a youth rehabilitation order. In August 2015, Kaba and 3 friends, including Bamboy, were involved in a gang-motivated knife attack. A well-known rival who relentlessly taunted 6-7 in rap videos was targeted in Carphone Warehouse on Streatham High Road. Witnesses described the scene as a bloodbath. The victim suffered multiple stab wounds and a broken arm. On his 19th birthday, Kaba participated in an unlicensed music event in Romford located in East London. During the event, tensions escalated, resulting in Kaba being stabbed in the abdomen amidst a confrontation. As he attempted to flee the scene, Bamboy and another individual were shot. Medical personnel attended to Kaba's injuries, but he declined to assist with the police inquiry. The factors that led Kaba into a life of crime remain unclear. He was raised by his Congolese parents alongside his younger brothers in various residences throughout southeast London. Family members characterized him as lively and noted that he frequently took his siblings to football matches. Friends described him as a humorous individual who had the ability to light up a room. At the time of his passing, Kaba was reportedly residing in a halfway house and employed in the construction industry. He was also expecting to become a father. However, in April 2022, the mother of his child secured a domestic violence protection order against him, which was enforced for a duration of 28 days. Their daughter was born in the autumn. Prosecutors described Kaba as a core member of the group 6-7, which claimed to be at the forefront of UK drill music, a rap genre that originated in Chicago, United States, during the early 2010s. Kaba was known in the music scene by the name Mad Itch or Itch. Drill music is often marked by its provocative and at times violent lyrics set against trap-style beats, with artists frequently expressing bravado or recounting their lived experiences and criminal activities. The music videos produced by 6-7 have amassed millions of views on YouTube, and in 2016 they received a nomination for the Best Newcomer Award at the MOBO Awards. However, despite this recognition, the court was later informed that 6-7 operated as an organised crime network that utilised social media to showcase their illegal lifestyles. They were reported to have access to weapons, manpower and funds from drug activities. The primary currency of 6-7 was described as violence, both group and individual violence involving firearms and knives. Their reputation and status have always relied on the promotion and public display of their violent actions. Drug trafficking constituted a significant portion of 6-7's income. The gang was involved in county lines operations, with several members having been convicted of drug and firearms-related crimes. Back in Streatham Hill, as news spread of a young black man being shot dead by the police, recriminations grew when the IOPC confirmed that no weapon had been found in his car. Activists mobilised and the #Justice for Chris Kaba campaign was born. A week after Kaba's death, detectives linked the Audi to the Oval Space nightclub shooting. 6 suspects, including Bamboy, Bell and Pottinger, were arrested over a 6-week period. It's understood that the Met knew about the blue Audi Q8 in May 2022 when it was involved in a shooting in Bromley, South London. The car was used to collect a shotgun before 2 men were shot in the legs. The named-insured driver, who was not Kaba, played an active role in the shooting and was still at large, while another male had been arrested. The incident was logged and the tactical firearms officer was said to be aware of the link as they pursued Kaba on that fateful day. Bell and Pottinger remained silent during police interviews. Bamboy accepted that he visited the club but denied any knowledge of a gun or the shooting. When they stood trial at the Old Bailey in November 2023, the jury was told that Kaba had played a leading role in the shooting. He was named as a co-conspirator on the indictment, and prosecutors said he would have been tried had he been alive. However, a court order has prevented the media from reporting this until after the trial of Martin Blake. Pottinger and Bell were found guilty of wounding with intent. All 3 men were convicted of possession of a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. The trio were all cleared of attempted murder. 3 other men were acquitted of the charges against them. Bell was jailed for 10 years. Pottinger received a 9-year term, while Bamboy was sentenced to 5.5 years. During the trial of Martin Blake, the jury heard how Blake was from a middle-class background, a vicarious reader who first worked in finance before joining the Met to escape a desk job. In court, Blake relied in part on a defense that so stressful and rapid were the events that some of his errors were the result of a psychological phenomenon called perceptual distortion, which leads to errors in memory. He was found not guilty after a 3-year deliberation and walked out of the Old Bailey as a free man. When drawing conclusions from the story, one must consider, is Kaba's criminal past relevant? An imperfect victim is still a victim. Why should young black men have to be squeaky clean to escape police brutality? After all, he was shot in the head by an institution that is meant to protect civilians. That said, Kaba's criminal history is relevant.
I mean,
It
if
offers
he had a
the best
different skin
explanation
colour,
for why he behaved the way he did.
would they have reacted the
He
same
was
way?
told to by the police because he was a wanted criminal and did
Who
not
knows?
want to face the
But
consequences
one thing to
of his
remember is
actions.
what I said earlier.
Nor were police
There's been
officers
4 people
following
killed
Kaba
by
out
armed
of
police
racial
who are unarmed.
animosity.
And all
The
4
car he
have
was
been
driving was used as a
black males.
getaway car in a shooting in Brixton the
I see
previous
three.
night. The police, in following him, were doing their job.
You get me?
They
So
were faced
where?
with a driver who refused to stop and instead used the car to ram others out of the
You get
way.
me? Chris Kaba,
The
known
case
as
may
Itch,
at least lead to
6'7".
some legal reform.
You get me?
Last
From a
year,
gang out in
firearms
South
officers
West
went
London.
on strike due to concerns that
Active
the
story.
authorities are too
He's
ready
known
to
as a
pursue
booter
them for
there,
using
so
force.
he's a known.
Officers, they
He's
said,
a known
did
booter.
not feel confident that they would be
Like,
properly
known in the
supported.
ends.
This
For
lack of
getting around,
confidence may
innit?
ultimately put the
Real
public at
clicky.
risk if firearms officers are hesitant
But
to willingly place themselves in scenarios
ultimately,
where
I
force may
believe.
become necessary. Reform is therefore most welcome.
Yeah, ultimately, I believe that, yeah, they're basically trying to show us his past as like a justification. You feel me? They're trying to show us his past as a justification of why they may have pulled the trigger. But the truth is, if you're onto him, you're onto him about his past, you're onto him about being who he is, then arrest the guy, innit? There's no reason to there's no reason to kill him. There's no reason to kill him. I mean, yeah. It's RIP to him though. It's a big loss to him and his family. One thing I need to tell the drillers then, you can't be doing the bait beatings and not even think about changing your clothes. You're not thinking about CCTV. Like, it's making no sense. You've done a drill in a whip. You're still driving the whip. You've done a drilling. Months after the drill. It's like this, like, guys, you're begging to be caught. Like, man, they need to really think about it. Like, stepping doesn't make sense. If you're not really thinking about everything, then bro, this is not for you. It's not for you, innit? Obviously, RIP my man. Proper stepper, man's heard about my man. But all of these things, like these little clues, these little, yeah, not thinking about the whole picture. Like, people are they're really just trying to do the drill so much, they're not really thinking about the whole picture, how this leads back to them. You get me? So it's like, guys, man, it's all long. It's all long, man. They say in this life, the only thing you're promised is death or jail, innit? So you gotta think about it, man. But nah, the feds done wrong here. The feds done wrong here, man. If he was unarmed, they definitely could have found a way to restrain him without killing him. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. I'm out.